ang category natin is an investor because we're not the one managing it. Somebody else is taking care of it for us. Yun yung beauty ng multifamily. And another thing which is very, very biased pagdating sa multifamily investing compared to some other portfolio in real estate is that this kind of facility is the basic needs of us. Like of people. Food, clothing, and shelter. Diba? Nandun siya sa category na yun. Shelter. Tonight, this will be more of an interaction kasi before we start dun sa exit, at least we've been into these sessions for quite a while kasi yung ibang magjo-join in, I don't know if they're gonna come tonight, but ang ganda ng topic kasi exit eh, no? Kung first time mo palang a-attend ng session and we're talking about exit, para you're on the last. You're on the last. But there's actually good points why we need to discuss exit. Kasi nga, people doesn't know that before you enter into something, you have to know what's the end of it. Yun ang reality of whether it's business or work or investments, kagaya ng ginagawa natin. You have to understand anything na sisimulan pa lang natin. Ito, alam to ng mga nasa finance world. Nagsisimula pa lang, kita mo na where you're heading in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. Diba? That's very important. And that's actually what's the book of Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's one of one of the habits. I think it is the second or third. I don't know. Medyo matagal ko na, hindi ko na nabalikan yung libro niya, but I read it several times. They said, begin with the end in mind. Always begin with the end in mind. Kasi majority of the time, people who are not successful, they just get in and then without even any clue how they're gonna end it. So, but before we go there, we had several series ng sessions about investing. I just want to know if there are other questions na or during the session na hindi nyo na itanong before or something that bothers you. I always tell even my clients, I always tell them is if there is anything in mind, any questions, kailangan ma-i-ask mo yun. Kasi if it sits there without any answer, it becomes doubt and it will hinder you every step of the way. Na meron kang gagawin, it's always there, it blocks you. So dapat lahat ng questions, anything. And I heard it also from Uncle G, that anything you have in your mind that is a big question mark or something that you don't really understand, even if it's just a word or something, voice it out. Kasi pagka hindi natin nasabi yun or hindi natin, you tend to move on with that kind of block na nag-i-stop sa'yo all the time. Diba? Kahit naman sa school, pag merong masyadong high-falutin word na sinabi yung teacher, tapos palagi niyang sinasabi, tapos hindi mo naiintindihan, parang it doesn't make sense. Diba? Doesn't make sense. I don't know, maybe you have something in your head right now. Paano ba talaga? How is it going pagdating sa investment or something? Do you have any other questions? Kami sa class, I'm still studying. Kami sa class, hinihimay namin talaga isa-isa. We did one actually, yung isa sa mga ginawa namin ni sister, yesterday ba sister yung ginawa natin, no? Hinimay talaga namin ng isa-isa. Like, okay, so anong mangyayari dito? How would you compare investing into a paper asset like mutual funds, stocks, diba? Bonds. How would you compare that into real estate? Anong advantage ng real estate, multifamily investment, or different types of investments sa mga paper assets? Kasi both of them, it generates appreciation, diba? Ang insurance and mutual funds investment, it can also generate, ang tawag doon, sister, cash values ba ang tawag?
Cash value.
Right? Yeah, so that generates it. So how would you compare this kind of investment to the other kind of investment? So yeah, those are the things. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, I'm very biased. Kasi ang alam ko is real estate. And I wanna really explore real estate para anything that will come across my opportunities, I will always check on how would I compare this opportunity to my real estate opportunity. Diba? Laging ganun. But yeah, I just have this, kasi the last time I think na-discuss natin to just to go back and review it a little bit. just a little. Bakit apartments are great investments? Meron akong itatanong sa inyo. Why do you think apartment is the great investment compared to other real estate portfolios? Sa tingin mo, just give one good reason. We've been talking about multifamily investing. Why would we invest there compared to other, let's say, land, industrial, commercial, warehouses, single-family homes? Why multifamily? Why not duplex? Why not strip malls? What do you think?
I think it's easier to manage, and it could give passive income.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sige, ano pa? Ikaw, Brian, what do you think? Why multifamily? It's si Brian kasi may single family to eh. Well,
Yeah, so compared to
Ellen has a single family too. She lives in her house and she's renting the basement. Tama ba, sister?
Yeah, three rooms for single occupancy.
Yeah. And then si Brian naman, he has so he owns a house, they live in it, and then they bought another house, they live in that new house, new purchase, and then rented out their previous home. So why multifamily? Why not single family?
Kasi marami rin namang ibang real estate, like yung sinabi niyo po Ate Mel, is like yung mga for example office space, di ba? Pwede niya pa rin yung ipa-rent. Why multifamily for me? Kasi dun sa natutunan ko dun sa session natin before yung sinabi ni Ate Mel, how can you earn 1 million kung yun yung target ko? Ano yung target ko? And nakita ko na dun sa multifamily, it's sa apartment, it's easy, most probably nag-increase lagi ang rent. Kung makikita niyo yung historical ng rents kung sa lugar niyo or dito sa Winnipeg, tumataas siya since noon. And for sure, tingin ko, tataas pa yun. So, konting taas lang ng mas marami kang units, you can reach that million target. Kung yun yung target mo, yun yung sa akin. Tapos, yun nga, mas target niya yung mas maraming tao. Most probably, mga tao nagre-rent ngayon, isa bumibili ng bahay because of the value of the houses, mas tumataas na. And then, kung dun ka naman sa office space, syempre, yung konti lang yung target mo, which is yung mga nagbe-business lang. So, yung rental, depende rin yan sa lugar. Syempre, marami pa rin factors yan, vacancy. So, i-factor in mo rin yun para dun sa target mo kung gusto mong anong income ang gusto mo. Kasi ako meron akong single family home na, yun nga, na house. Ang difference niya rin, tama rin sinabi ni Ms. Rena na mas madali tingin ko yung multifamily kasi you can hire someone than a single family home na ako yung mismo nag-maintain. So, basically, para ako yung manager and dun sa isa is like passive income. Para silang passive income kasi kahit natutulog naman ako, may income. Pero mas tingin ko yung sa multifamily, mas madali ako makuha ko yung target ko.
Yeah. And yung simpleng understanding na unang-una nating diniscuss when we were starting the session of education where we listened to Uncle's clip of one of his videos na sinasabi niya, if we believe that a single family home is a good investment, how much more are many doors? 100 doors, 50 doors. So yeah, we're actually discussing parang yung before we get into the reasons why we need to know our exit in doing the multifamily investing. We're just summarizing what we have learned from our previous sessions and why are we really focusing on the multifamily investing. Kasi nga, that just like that, what I was saying, in his video, he said, if we believe that one unit, like single family, is a good investment, how much more if we have the scale? Ang tawag kasi doon sa, let's say, 20 units, 30 units, 50 units, 100 units. That's a scale. How much more is a property with 50 units, 100 units in one location, one address, one closing, one transfer of title, one lawyer to deal with, right? Not single families that you're gonna deal with one property at a time. If you have 50, you have 50 addresses, 50 transactions, 50 closings, 50 everything, right? In a multifamily apartment or portfolio or multifamily mga facilities, you only have to do the closing once. You have to do all the paperwork once, and you're dealing with many units. And when it comes to vacancy, if you only have one unit and the tenant leave, then you have 100% vacancy, correct? And unlike 100 units, 2 units are vacant, and then so you have 2% vacancy lang. So yun yung beauty ng naka-scale. That's how it is with multifamily. Another thing is, majority of the time, if you are, well, I knew of a client of mine who only have one unit, and dahil ayaw niya ng headache in managing, he has a property management na nag-aasikaso ng one unit niya. And guess what? Of course, meron siyang kahati doon sa income niya every single month, diba? Ganun yun. If you have rental or property management, someone is taking care of that property for you, but again, you have to share or you have to pay that management company who's taking care of your property. Kasi as kagaya ni Brian, he can work with dealing with the tenants, pero sabi nga niya parang manager siya doon. So it is being considered as another job, diba, Brian? What if si Brian ay hindi handy? I mean, lahat ng mga magiging maintenance and repairs ng units na yon, Brian will gonna be looking for trades to hire, diba? And pay some money. Unlike pagka marami ang units, somebody else is taking care of it. So talagang ang category mo, you're an investor. Whether you're a general partner or you're a limited partner, ang category natin is an investor because we're not the one managing it. Somebody else is taking care of it for us. Yun yung beauty ng multifamily. And another thing which is very, very biased pagdating sa multifamily investing compared to some other portfolio in real estate is that this kind of facility is the basic needs of us. Like of people. Food, clothing, and shelter. Diba? Nandun siya sa category na yun. Shelter, kahit pandemic time. Nagkaroon kami ng issue on so many commercial properties during COVID season. Like, nagkaroon ng less demand on offices. Tawag nito, retail. Nagkaroon ng napakarami. Na-take over siya ng Amazon, ng lahat ng deliveries. Kasi yung food traffic na tinatawag, people are not going to the malls anymore during that time. So, nagkaroon ng challenges itong maraming mga businesses. Strip malls, nagkaroon ng issues. Commercial properties got into trouble during COVID. But guess what? People still needs a roof over their head. Correct? Hindi naapektuhan ang mga multifamily. The only thing that was just para naging in return nung mga may-ari ng mga multifamily, mga apartments during that time is to hold at least yung increase ng rent kasi maraming tao ang nawalan ng work. Correct? If you can remember those times, we have more than 2 years na ganun yung nangyari. But ang mga apartments are still full. Masyadong tumaas ang presyo ng mga property. Kaya nagkaroon tayo not only in the US, not only in Canada, but both, majority actually, hindi lang dito sa North America, we have a shortage of housing dahil dun sa mga ganong klaseng scenario. At yeah, the housing shortage that is being talked here is not the single family homes, not the developments nitong mga bagong bahay in the new developments area, not those houses. It's actually the housing which is itong mga multi-family na to ang may malaking demand. So that's one of the reasons why we get into yung ganitong klase. Ang tawag nito, pinag-aaralan natin to ngayon. There is an opportunity out there, big, like really big opportunity out there for multi-family investing. I'll share with you why multi-family or why apartment are great investments. I-share ko tong screen sa inyo really quick. Aside from apartments are, sabi nga ni sister, easily mas simple to manage. Actually, you don't really have to manage. Pero kasi may property management investors tayo. So, one of the reason is they're real assets that cannot be easily replaced. Diba? Imagine niyo yung mga, well, not hindi naman tayo nakatira sa apartments ngayon, but those big facilities, those apartment buildings, hindi sila basta-basta ma-replace. Real assets. Sabi nga, ang tawag nga is hard assets. Hard assets. Kaya it's gonna be there. Life, kumbaga, ma-out, it is a generational wealth. You can pass it on to your generation. Diba? Ma-outlive ka ng property mo. So real asset, hard asset. They produce positive cash flow. When you bought an apartment building, bought it just at the right, sabi nga there's always, there's no such thing as timing. Dapat good deal. If you bought the asset, good deal at that particular time, then positive cash flow is a promise ng apartments. Okay, they can create multiplier effect. Apartments appreciate when rents rises. Dito sa Manitoba, medyo may control pa nga tayo dito kasi we have the residential tenancy branch who's dealing with the rent. May mga guidelines, something like that. But there are many facilities na rin ngayon, the newer ones especially, that are not covered by RTB regulations. Sila yung mas matataas ang rental. So the owners can parang they can suggest whatever rents they want to put in doon sa kanila. So hindi sila covered ng residential tenancy branch. So mga high-end apartments. So they can dictate the rents. So every time the rents goes up, the value of the property goes up. Yun yung kakaiba sa mga apartments. 'Di ba? Unlike kung i-compare mo siya sa ibang asset class, medyo and this increase is steady, like every single year, 'di ba? Every single year. Or kung meron kang major renovations na ginawa sa facility mo, you can increase the rent based on the reasonable yon renovations na ginawa mo sa facility. So it goes up in value. And then the last but not least is they offer leverage of debt. Increase your position. Yung sinasabing dito, debt. Ang mga bangko, pagka pinag-usapan ng apartment, they will, secondary na lang tayong mga purchaser. Ang una nilang i-evaluate is the performance of the asset. Doon magkaiba ang pag-acquire ng mga single family or duplexes, or doon sila magkaiba. Way big difference. Because they're gonna look for the performance of this building. Unlike pag bumibili tayo ng bahay, tayo yung ini-evaluate ng bangko. Si Mel ba, merong bang kakayanan itong magbayad ng mortgage every month? Diba? Meron ka bang enough income? Wala ka ba masyadong debt or loans? Kasi yung ating debt servicing ratio, yun yung masyadong malaki ang effect sa atin once we are buying something, correct? But in an apartment deals, ang pinag-uusapan dito yung performance of the asset. That's why kapag in-offer mo sa bangko yung property na to, and you underwrite it na pwede siyang mag-support ng debt, then the bank will gonna confirm it with you na yes, it is. So there you go. Kahit when it comes to acquisition and then refinancing of the property, napakaganda ng position mo as an investor. So those are there's a lot more reasons, but these are the most important ones. Bakit napakaganda ang apartment when it comes to investments, di ba? So that's how it is.
Sis, pwede mag-question?
Sige, sister.
I just noticed na hindi factor ang life or yung built year ng building, is it? In considering, oo.
Pagbili ng property?
Oo.
Actually, it does pagdating sa apartment portfolios. May tinatawag kasi na asset class. So, yung mga class A, may class A, B, C. So, yung class A, yun yung mga newer built. Majority of the time, sila yung may mga additional amenities, like meron silang gym, meron silang multi-family, multi-purpose hall, yung mga ganon kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yun yung mga bago, kalimitan those are because of that kind of class or category ng asset. Pagka pinag-usapan ng cap rate, nagkakaroon siya ng change doon. Mas mababa ang cap rate ng mga ganong klaseng facility. It means, kagaya na napag-aralan natin, when the cap rate goes down, ano mangyayari sa value ng property? It will go up. So, mas mataas ang value ng mga Class A property. Yung Class B, ito yung mga newer, not renovated, pero newer. Location is also part of the class, diba?
Mm.
And, so yun yung mga Class B. Or, medyo older building, but fully remodeled. Yun yung B. So, B, pwede silang B+, or A-, may mga ganong klaseng category. Pero at A, B, C ang kalimitan. Yung mga older facility, ang class nila is class C. So, class C, pwedeng C+ or C-. So, mayroong effect yung age
Year build.
pag kakategorize ka ng asset class.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm. Yeah. Any question? Okay. So there are several ways. Punta na tayo dun sa ating discussion. Maybe si Argel, isa sa mga question ito, nagsisimula, ngayon pa lang, first time ko pa lang makinig, pero ang pag-uusapan na namin ngayon, Argel, is exit. we are on that topic. We had, so, kasi nga, it is actually based on, this discussion doesn't necessarily be the last. Kasi it is actually part of the beginning. Kung if you will think about it, based on the book na sinasabi nga ni Stephen Covey, diba? Dun sa habits of 7 habits of highly effective, diba? Yung mga tao na pag meron silang gustong gawin, they have to know what is the end. Okay? When we buy something, kami, no, I'll share you a story. Kami sa real estate, yung aming yung journey namin into the flip, yung buy and sell. We want to make it sure that in the beginning, ito yung magiging numbers ko, ito yung aming gagawing renovations para at the end, kaya ko siyang ibenta in the market value ng property. So, you have to really see that in the asset na ina-acquire namin noon. So, bahay. Bibili kami ng bahay, kailangan ng presyo nito ay ganito lang. Para pagdating ng 2 months, 3 months, ibebenta namin siya, I can make money on that. Pagka lumampas doon, then there you go, we are in trouble. So, anything we do, we have to know what's the end of this. So, ngayon na bumibili tayo ng property, it's an apartment block or apartment complex. Gusto ko nga complex na para maramihan talaga. Sarap siguro noon, ano? Namimilipit kaming ipanganak yung 28 units, tapos ngayon biglang 100 plus units yung hinahanap na. Ano kaya, mga cesarean na yung dating natin ito. Anyways, ipapanganak at may ipapanganak pa rin. But according to my coach, sabi niya, you started it just right. Whether it's 28 units, 50 units, 100 units, or even more, it's gonna be the same process. Same process. It's just a matter of this time, it is way more than before. And he said, you're gonna see and you will experience this, that more is better than less. I was like, really? Yes. I want to experience that soon. Hopefully this year. So, anyways, we're working towards some numbers dun sa mga nakikita natin na mga properties. But anyways, going back to the topic, there are few ways to exit kapag ka ikaw ay nasa multifamily investing. And this is actually just one of the warnings pagka ikaw nga daw ay mag-i-invest. Pag mag-i-invest ka into something and you only have one exit, don't. Huwag ka na mag-invest doon. Sayang. Diba? Sayang. Dapat multiple exits ang kailangan natin magawa in an investment. So, hindi natin i-discuss lahat. We'll just discuss two. Ang isa sa mga exit na pwede natin gawin is to sell. Kasi that's the simplest way of exiting. Okay. I-hold natin ng property for a number of years and then mag-wait tayo a little bit para magtaas ng rent. And ano sabi kanina, when the rent increase, the value of the property increase too, di ba? So, let's say sabihin natin 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and then we sell. That's one of the exit. Napakasimpleng exit nun. And majority of us, yun ang exit natin sa ating bahay, di ba? Bihirang-bihira sa atin ang magte-take ng bihirang-bihira sa atin ang mag-exit na kukuhanin natin yung equity ng property natin and we're gonna buy another asset or we're gonna use it for business. Very few of us, especially Filipinos, ang mindset natin is more of lagi tayo nasa safe side. na I don't wanna have too much debt. Gusto ko mag-retire ako nang wala akong utang. Ewan ko ba kung sino nagpamana sa atin nun? Parang masyado tayong nasa safe. Kaya bihira sa Pilipino ang negosyante. Okay? Alala ko tuloy si Donald Trump. Sinabi yan ni Donald Trump, sinabi ni Robert Kiyosaki, sinabi ni who's this? Warren Buffett. Sinabi ng tatlong business tycoons na to na they're gonna die with a big amount of debt. It's from the debt that they are making a lot of money kasi, if you think about it. Diba? So, hindi yun ang mindset natin mga Pilipino. But anyways, kaya ako napapunta doon is because in a single family home that we're living in right now, our mindset, or majority of us Filipinos mindset, ang exit natin noon is ibenta natin yon either sooner or maybe later. Papamana natin sa mga bata. That's another exit too. Diba? That's another exit too. But one of the exits na siguro based on more than 50% is to sell the house bago mag-retire para magamit yung funds for the retirement. That is one. In a multi-family deal, that's also one of the exits. Kasi nga, iintay mo tumaas yung value ng asset and then sell it. Napaka-simple. The second one is a little bit complicated, but naandun yung magic. That's where the multiplier effect na tinatawag. Now, the value of the asset increased, the mortgage balance decreased, diba? Over the period of time. So, magkakaroon ng malaking equity yung property and you can borrow that money through refinancing. Of course, magdadagdag, you put another debt on the asset, di ba? Tataas yung mortgage niya, but it is supported by rent. That's the balance. And then this money that you take out from it, minsan nga once you do the refinance and you have a good numbers, minsan yung i-down payment mo, you already take it back on the first refinance. So when you took your money out, all of it na kinontribute mo on that down payment, so you took all of it through refinancing, that's a non-taxable event. Kasi it's a loan. Wala kang babayarang tax. Nakuha mo kaagad yung pera mo. Aside from the cash flow, the cash flow is continuous. Pero syempre, pagka nagdagdag ka ng loan on, let's say, 6th year, 7th year of owning the asset, kinuha mo yung through refinancing, that's the second exit. Liliit ng konti yung cash flow mo. But, my question is, meron ka pa bang pera dun sa asset na binili mo? You don't have any money on that asset anymore because you got it on that event when you refinance the property. Diba? Who owns the asset then? Ikaw pa rin. You still own the asset, you still get the cash flow, but you already got your money back. That kind of return, that is an infinite return right there. And that's where the magic is. That's the multiplier effect na tinatawag ng mga investors, where you get your money out, put it into another asset. So, ganun lumalaki yung portfolio. They never sell their assets. They just hold on to it and use the equity of that asset in getting another property. Ganun katalino how it is being built into the structure. So, refinancing is one of the key to multiply your money with no tax, zero tax, non-taxable event. And you still own the asset, you still have the cash flow, but you have your money back, which is not available in I would say in the paper asset. In the paper asset, when you get your money back, tama ba ako dun? Kinuhan mo na lahat. There's no cash flow anymore. Unless may ititira ka pa, di ba? Sa cash flow, I remember yung discussion namin ni Sister kahapon na if you have cash value on that policy, you can borrow against it too, and then use that towards whatever, business or investment, another investment. Pero once you put money into something that grows, let's say 10 years, and then you withdraw everything, wala na, nakuha mo na lahat, pati yung growth. Sa real estate, you get your cash flow, you get the growth of that asset via refinance, and you still have the asset that will pay you another cash flow right after the refinancing event. Diba? A little bit complicated yung second exit, but that's majority of the wealthy people are doing. Napaka-smart. And that's one thing that we are looking forward talaga. That you can pass on, enjoy the cash flow that you are receiving from this asset na ina-acquire mo over the years, and then pass it on to the next generation. Ang sarap nun. And then, wag niyo ipapasa sa mga anak niyo pag tamad. Biglang ganun. Pag hindi sila kapaki-pakinabang, wag ipasa. I mean, tell them to just keep doing, keep the cycle flowing, and then learn how to grow. Kasi that's gonna be a lifetime, a legacy. Diba? Ang sarap ng gano'n. I was like, naku, ang sarap ilagay nito sa last will ni Imelda at ni Orlando Elaro. Hindi ganyan. So to acquire more assets and put all the funds that you took from the refinance and then convert it into another asset again. One of the mistakes na ginawa ni Uncle nung nagsisimula siya sa real estate is to sell some of his first few investments niya. He sold it only to find out that in the next I think 5 years to 7 years na doble ulit yung value ng asset. Grabe. So there are deals like that. That you can refinance it every 5 years or every cycle of 7 years. So it's really a multiplier, diba? A multiplier. Kasi remember, it is being based on what kind of asset it is, anong klaseng cap rate. So we learned the numbers before. We have how many sessions about numbers? I think 5, and then last time it was tax that we discussed. So these numbers, understanding numbers in real estate, like the number of doors, cap rate, the vacancy, the NOI, those kind of numbers, very significant yun sa calculation ng underwriting. So if we know those numbers by heart, and then we practice it kahit sa mga ilang units, say nakakita kayo ng 10 units of apartment, then apply. We have the underwriting calculator. We send the link over to you the other time. So just try it. Be familiar with it para at least anything that goes to your way na, uy, meron 12 units na binibenta doon. Put all the numbers in that calculator and see if their asking price is the market price or the price that you really want to pay. Majority of the time you'll see it's overpriced. But it's normal in a commercial world. Okay, very normal yan sa commercial world. So those are the 2 exits. We still have few other exits to discuss, but ano na tayo? It's ang bilis talaga ng oras. It's almost 7 o'clock. Here's the thing. If we understand all the numbers na diniscuss natin before and i-apply natin yon dito sa ating everyday, parang ano lang ba, parang practice, everyday practice about valuation of assets. You'll see it's really fun. You're gonna enjoy it. It's very simple. Other people make it hard. I don't know. Minsan ang dami-dami nilang sinasabi. Sabi nga ni Uncle, they just wanna make it hard for you not to understand because they don't want you to learn what they were doing. Selfish. Maraming ganun. But it's very simple to compute anong klaseng ito bang asset na nakikita ko dito, ito bang portfolio na to is making sense if I'm gonna buy this. Diba? Yun eh. And it was a very simple calculation. You learned it. I'm actually asking someone to edit the video that we had simula nung nag-start tayo na class nitong education na to para ma-i-upload natin. So, for those of you who never been parang naging part ng first sessions, you can learn from it. It's very simple, very simple. Sabi nga, ang numbers when I just love numbers. I know marami sa atin dito loves numbers. Si Brian loves numbers. Kami ni Sister Berna, we really love numbers. Si Sister Ellen, number person din yan. I know si Romel and Christy are. Si Argel too, because Argel is a negosyante. We love numbers. And we all know that numbers doesn't lie. Pagka sinabing 1 + 1 is 2, it's forever 2, correct? Hindi 11. Pag pinagdikit yung 1 and 1, yun, 11 yun. Pero 1 + 1 is 2, di ba? And 1 × 1 is 1. So, napakasimple ng numbers and it doesn't lie. It gives you the exact information kahit anong calculator ang gamitin. And yung paggamit ng cap rate and your NOI, additional value, paano natin makukuha yung additional value of the asset pag tumaas na yung rent. And I believe we also discussed if we target $1 million of income, and then ang asset category natin is what? Sabihin natin, we have 100 units. How much rent increase do we need para magkaroon tayo ng 1 million? We discussed it, di ba? Sa ating session. So, yeah, napaka-exciting. Kahit naman sa class namin, we always had an extended time. Kasi pagka pinag-uusapan na yung numbers, parang kahit gusto mong mag-exit, parang ayaw mong umalis sa, dahil you're gonna see how it is being computed, ano yung mga sasabihin mo kapag makikipag-usap ka sa bangko. And then, sometimes kasi the banks has a different way of underwriting. Pero alam mo, kahit ang haba-haba ng underwriting ng bangko, pareho doon sa underwriting calculator na binigay sa atin yan. It's the same. It is the same. Although they computed it in a different way. Kaya nakakatuwa. So it's that very simple. But there are reasons why banks are doing that kind of underwriting. Kasi meron silang mga like ratios, meron silang other numbers. Well, so even in the commercial world too, iba ang underwriting ng mga commercial realtors compared to what the investors are doing. So it's a simplified version. If you don't have yung link no sinasabi kong underwriting calculator, I'll send it again sa ating group para at least you have it on your favorites. Diba? Teka, hanapin ko na. Noong isang araw lang, I am computing 16 units. Although maliit to. May net income siya na $2,000. So may market rent siya na $2,000 per unit. And ang net NOI niya is 221 with 40% expenses, 93% occupancy. Other income is 3.25 and then the cap rate is 6%. So if you're gonna put that in, ang presyo ng property should be ranging from 3.6 to 3.7. Dapat ganun lang ang presyo. So if you have 100 units and ang rent niya is 1,000 per month, wala tayong meron pa bang 1,000 ngayon? Parang ang single bed ngayon 1,300 na eh.
Yes.
Diba? Ang mahal ng rent ngayon, grabe. Well, ang bahay din naman, if you own a house, and ang average price, by the way, of house here in our city, Winnipeg, is 450,000 for 2025. Imagine yun. Ibig sabihin, if you were gonna buy a house that is under 450, medyo yung bahay mo ay may mga i-retouch ka pa or may mga cosmetics na kailangan gawin. So, yeah, that's how it is here sa atin. Taas na ang presyo ng property natin. Occupancy, let's say, ang occupancy is 95% and the same ang ating expenses and 6% ang cap rate. So, ang presyo ng ating property na yan, 100 units is 14 million. So, it means that per unit natin is 148,200. Diba? So, that's how this works. It's already done for you. Ganyan kasimple. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, something that you can use when you find properties. Let's say, you saw property in realtor.ca na andito sa lugar na to. Tingnan nyo if their asking price is making sense. Diba? So, you can compute, magkano kinikita ng property na yan? Anong klaseng cap rate yan? So, ang cap rate ng mga nasa downtown area, as if we are focusing on Winnipeg, sa downtown area, ang cap rate yan ng property is naglalaro sa 8, 9, 10%. Mataas ang cap rate doon. Pero pag nandito ka sa mga, let's say, Garden City, Maples, Amber Trail, ang cap rate dyan between 4 to 5%. Minsan may 3% pa. Yung mga bagong apartments along McPhillips, nasa mga 3 to 3.5% ang cap rate. So the lower the cap rate, the higher the price. May inverse relationship yung dalawang yun. Okay? So that's how it is pag magko-compute kayo ng property. So alam nyo na, pag may kausap kayo, let's say someone na sinasabi nila, oh, buy this property kasi mataas ang cap rate, tumakbo na tayo. Takbo, mabilis. Ibig sabihin, yung property na yon is probably C-, nasa rough location, hindi gaanong gustuhin ng mga tenants. So, I would rather buy a property with a lower cap rate or higher price. Mas maganda yun kasi ibig sabihin, those are the properties in the prime area. Okay? So, yeah. I think that's it for today. Unless may question kayo. Any questions? Okay.
Recording po ba nung last niyo? Para makahabol ako.
meron akong recording, Argel, nung mga past sessions. So I think before the end of this month, ma-edit siya. Kasi ang majority nun kasi minsan may kwentuhan kami, merong mga yeah, and it's an hour of ganito, parang merong question and answer, ganyan. May mga kamusta na? Anong ginawa mo? So pinapa-edit ko lang siya. So it's focusing more on the topic. But yeah, we spent a lot of times doon sa understanding numbers. Kasi sabi ko nga, kahit ako, this is new to me. Understanding yung ganitong klaseng numbers in the real estate, this is not for residential realtor na kagaya ko. And majority of the time, commercial realtors, they have a very complicated numbers in their head. Kasi nag-aaral ako ng commercial real estate eh. So, I know they're gonna lead you into something na spreadsheet ang ipapakita sa'yo. Napakahaba for you to get everything into your head. Parang sasakit na yung ulo mo. They're just gonna say, okay, alam mo, Mel, ang kailangan mong presyong ibigay sa kanila is this number. You don't even have a clue, di ba? Na yun yung right number. Pero dahil sa haba ng spreadsheet nila na ipapakita sa'yo, they're gonna say, okay, ito yun eh, kinompute ko na lahat and then that's it. Ito yung calculation na napakasimple. Kaya nung nakita ko, I was like, kahit ang bangko naka-deal namin dito sa past deals namin, ang dami nilang kinalculate, we ended up in the same level. Diba? So, that is what we were discussing, yung mga, ano ba yung numbers na kailangan natin maintindihan, ano bang tawag dito, ano ba yung NOI, net operating income, and then ano ba yung cap rate nga na yan, and then yung cash on cash. Importante yun sa lahat ng investors. Pag nag-invest ako ng 100,000 dyan, magkano ang return ng money ko? Yun ang pinaka-importante masabi natin sa lahat ng mag-i-invest. Kasi that's the money that has to work for us, di ba? Yun. So, yeah, I have a record. I will send it over sa group.